Welcome to Taste Like Tea, a podcast where I kill my own personal time talking about myself for, for myself. It is a podcast about me. My name is Theo. Don't call me Ted. I generally talk almost exclusively about movies, but I do have other interests, like reading about movies and attempting to write movies myself. I would love to say that I finished a script or something, but I didn't. I didn't do any of that. I finished a scene, which was pretty cool, But it's a podcast about me. Hi, my name is Theo. We loop back around again. I was thinking about how I'm going to pick up on this, because obviously I watch more movies than I can talk about in the time frame I'm given, which is a whole thing. Also, you might hear a slight rumble. It's a little chilly out, so I have my heat on in the car. I try to make it as quiet as possible, but running machines running. And I could have just recorded this tomorrow when it was warmer, but that's not an option, because I probably would have forgotten. So, yeah, if I were to go through everything I watched, I'd have to now, because I started at the beginning of March, I would now have to pick up at the 3rd of March, which it is now the 23rd. It's been an additional week since, I think an additional week since I last recorded something. But I watch a lot of movies, so I would love to be yeah, here's what I watched this week. The week of blank. The week of, I don't know, the 16th through the 22nd. Would that be that? But I mean, we could try that, sure. We could start there. I wish it was the 15th I was starting with, because there's a couple of weird ass movies I watched that day, but maybe I'll wait until I'm a little bit more in it on that, right? I don't think... Oh, this is going to be weird. So, I have... I'm married. I have a partner. I exist. And I don't exist exclusively to please myself. Which, that could be seen good or bad. I like it. But it does inhibit... it does limit the kinds of movies I could watch at times, because as much as a person doesn't deserve to be exposed to extreme cinema of any sort that I watch, no reason to force it on somebody. And I've been trying to kind of what's the word? Wrestle with that? Is that the word I'm thinking of? But what am I getting at? So basically the first few movies I'm going to be mentioning are not movies I would generally be oh yeah, I fucking love this movie. It's not going to be a lot of that. I don't know why I'm giving pretense to warn you about my overwhelmingly average opinion on a few of these films. But I guess just know that I watch movies with my partner a majority of the time, so in fairness, I try and watch things they would want to as well, even if I'm wrong about that thought. So a week ago from today, I watched Spirited Away. It's not, not a groundbreaking... It's a groundbreaking experience, absolutely, but it's not groundbreaking for me to say that I've watched Spirited Away. It is a film that my partner introduced me to. I didn't watch it until I was about 17 or 18. I didn't know who the fuck Ghibli was, or Walt Miyazaki, or Studio Ghibli in general. I my animation experience was limited to channels 32 and 33, which would be Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. And then occasionally, I used to watch Roly Poly Oly or whatever the fuck his name was. And I think he's on Disney Channel. Anyway, I wasn't aware of these films for the first half of my life. Can you believe that? 16 years is almost... Well, it's more than half of my life now, but it's almost. Like, that's crazy. Math. It was introduced to me very late, and I honestly wasn't too enthusiastic about it and when I initially watched it. And it may be a thing because, like, they're made for children, right? The whole point of these stories is that they're kind of minimalist in their complexities, but their worlds are dense and full and usually, like, lively and such. So as a kid, you know, I wouldn't say I was like 17 or 16 and like craving. Well, no, my partner and I started dating when I was like 18. Why am I saying 15 or 16? Yeah, I watched this shit when I was like 18 or 19, actually. Because for some reason... Anyway. Even older. But I was very unenthusiastic about... It was just so unfamiliar. And I don't think I disliked it. I definitely remember liking all the no-face stuff immediately. I loved when it turned into a monster movie, I guess, is a way to put it. But I remember just not being enthusiastic about it, and I could almost guarantee it's centric to the idea of it could end and you can be like, what the hell just happened? You got a flying witch lady who happens to be a shapeshifter, who happens to have a twin sister, one of which has a baby who is shapeshifted into something, but also likes to be shapeshifted and hates germs, and 3-head totem baby. And there's a lot that happens in that movie, and I guarantee the only thing I walked away from it my first time was enjoying the no-face stuff. Now, fast forward over 10 years, and here I am, I own it on Blu-ray, which isn't like a huge deal. I have the Steelbook because I have to find a reason to spend money on something for some reason. Capitalism, beat me. And now I enjoy buying things and giving corporations money. And partially believing that it contributes to something more than a rich white man's pocket. But yeah, I like the movie now. I give it 5 stars. It's a perfect movie. I can't ever really find anything negative to say about it, except that it's it kind of meanders and has no direct goal. The main goal of the movie is find my parents and go home. Everything else that happens is just circumstantial or even happenstance. I honestly don't know the difference between the two, so I just kind of use them and hope I nail the usage on that. But it's everything that happens besides those events of her saving her parents, which, in a sense requires everything else to happen, but only kind of, because the only things that... What the fuck is her name? Chiriko? Jesus Christ, I suck. I watch it in English because my partner doesn't like subbed things, and honestly, I don't give a fuck. I liked dubbed anime. Fuck you. Alright? If I'm watching a comfort movie, some of the comfort comes from not needing to look at the screen. And the voice of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch, the original, can't believe I have to say that now, is the voice of, what's her face, Chiriko? I have my phone open, I could just check. Chihiro? Why can't Chihiro? That's it. Boom. God, I'm dumb. Yeah, Chihiro. Really, the only things she has to do is bathe the river spirit and I guess save Haku. I don't think that's even required learning. That's kind of just self-growth, because it was, I mean, other than unrepressing trauma, it's you know, love formed and friendships and whatever the fuck. But I'm trying to remember, because is it this movie that I'm thinking of where it's like love is the key out? I don't think so. But what else could I have watched where love is the key? Can't be much. But that's Spirited Away. I mean, yeah. Hold on. Let me finish, because I think I was just mid-thought. So the only thing Chihiro has to do is follow her parents. No, technically, if she didn't even do that, maybe the movie wouldn't even happen. But she follows her parents. She washes the river spirit. She feeds Haku the nugget. And she gambles with an old lady. And I don't think the Haku thing is required, other than the possibility that old lady witch would probably not have let her go if Haku didn't firmly stare at her and make her realize that her baby was a head or something. Yeah, Spirited Away is good. I feel like, I mean, I could talk about seemingly anything for enough time as I need to, as long as I add in enough ums and reiterate the same points, because I lose my train of thought. But after that, a day passes. I only watched that one movie that day. They came together. This is another one of me going like, hey, it's got Paul Rudd and Amy Schumer. Amy Poehler. Amy Schumer's that one lady nobody likes, right? Anyway. It also has a bunch of other people who I wouldn't have even noticed until I pressed play. But it's like an SNL movie. And it's weird, because I have a weird relationship with comedy, and it's kind of why I don't watch like comedies willingly anymore, really. There's not very often where I go, oh, this looks funny, I should watch this. It's usually like, whoa, this looks crazy, and it just happens to have some humor in it as well. So I don't really know how to identify what comedies I like, except for parody. Parody is probably the one thing I could absolutely identify with as comedy that I enjoy. Because, I mean, since like third grade, probably even earlier, I've been obsessed with Weird Al. And I absolutely, like, I go on Weird Al binges where I will just not be able to turn off any of his parody. And I'm the person, there's probably people who aren't like this, but I'm the kind of person who likes Weird Al And when someone goes, "Why are you playing this for me?" Which, spoiler alert, is my partner. They do not like Weird Al. I say, it's the same song. It's just as good as the one you like. It's just better. I don't know if I'd ever say it's better, but I like it more. And I've always been like that. I remember one day someone said put on, what's that Macklemore song that got him famous? Thrift Store or whatever? And I looked up the Machinima parody game store or games shop, which is just the same song but with a bunch of video game references that nobody needed. But I loved it, and I don't like the original. I can listen to it now and say it's catchy, but like, I don't think I've ever willingly listened to any of the original songs for these things. When I was younger, I did, in fact, because I liked The Saga Begins so much, I did, in fact, get into that Don McQueen song, American Pie. But I've listened to both songs so much that I now mix up the lyrics, and mid one song, I would accidentally think the lyrics of the other song, which is fun, to randomly start, like, singing about, like, Buddy Holly dying in a fiery death and then talking about Darth Vader in the same sentence. It's fun. I'm talking about a movie. Why am I talking about Weird Al? We could talk about my favorite Weird Al appearance in a movie, which is Safety Patrol, but I'm not going to do that. I'm talking about They Came Together. Now, I was skeptical putting this on because as I just described, I am skeptical of comedies. And, I like actors that are comedians. Like, I love Paul Rudd. I think Amy Poehler, Jesus Christ, Bill Hader, Jason, Greek name, like, Randall Park, like, they're all hilarious. I think all of them are hilarious people, and I like seeing them in movies. But when I see a movie that's being sold, like, this isn't exactly, but I don't know how to explain this. So it's like the reason I bring up parody, let me get this out of the way. I liked this movie a lot. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I gave it a 4.5 stars. I really liked They Came Together. And the disgust on my partner's face when I told them that is the exact sign of a movie I would like. Not because they dislike it, but because our tastes in comedy are so deeply different. Sorry, I just got a scary text. Oh, sorry, that's some dead silence. They Came Together. I really liked it. My partner didn't. My partner not liking comedy is usually a sign that I like the comedy, and vice versa, because I, at least in some cases, like, let's use a romantic comedy, for example, I find it predictable and unfunny and uncharming to see, someone go into a coma and then be woken up convinced that you're married to them. Like, that's a little fucking creepy. Telling the country that your dad is experiencing great loss, and then in return, the country thirsting over them and people stalking him across state lines. That's creepy. All right? It's not charming. It's very little laughs, and it's a weird, I just don't get it. I feel like it's just short of porn, and at least in porn, it's not, like, afraid to be the thing it is. Anyway, They Came Together has, and I said this out loud to my partner while watching this, it has the same comedy energy as Date Movie, which is one of my favorite comedies of all time. This is where that tastes like tea stuff really this is where the tastes like tea title really sticks out, because I have tastes that I'm not convinced anybody shares, and some people have accused me of being intentionally non-traditional, but I don't know, man. This shit's funny. Date movie's funny. Scary Movie 3 is funny. Although, anyway, I'm not going to get into that either. Jesus Christ. Sorry, my partner is texting me. I'm trying not to not talk because I don't edit these, and you're not going to fucking... Yeah, because this is a zero effort podcast. I am sitting in a car after work, speaking into my headphones. I don't even have a microphone. This is just the earbuds I wear on a daily basis. I accidentally haven't swapped them out yet for a few hours, so it could die mid this too, which is concerning. So it's like they came together. It's a movie, right? It's the thing I'm talking about, and it's just a hyper meta comedy. It's a film that takes everything that you expect from a shitty, low effort, run of the mill SNL comedy. Good cast, bad writing. It takes all of your expectations of stuff like that, and it completely fulfills it. But in the most aggressive, in-your-face, like, fuck you kind of way. And it's exactly the kind of shit that I love. I don't know if I'll be able to pull full scenes from this movie to, like, describe the things I find hilarious. I'm watching a crow eat a Granny Smith apple. I'm gonna take a picture of that, actually. If you know who I am in person, ask me for this picture of a crow eating Granny Smith apple. That was a good one. Nice. Hell yeah. Oh, I thought I got it with the apple in the air. It's alright. It's alright. Alright. Words. I saw a bird. I'm still seeing the bird. Yeah, it's just in your face meta comedy to its fullest extent. It's so aware in not a Scream kind of way. Like, I don't know how to explain it exactly when I say that, because I don't really know what I mean when I say not in a Scream kind of way, but it's different. It's a different kind of energy. And maybe it's the deadpan stuff too. I'm sorry, I'm really trying to pull a scene, and all I could think of is just like Paul Rudd looking over at Amy Poehler and just like not laughing and it being hilarious. But yeah, like it's a... Jesus Christ, I'm stumped for words because I kind of have so little to say about it. It's just a really good comedy that I highly recommend. Yeah, even my review is barely 2 paragraphs. Like, it's just me saying it's funny. It does have the plot of You've Got Mail, but with instead of a bookstore, it's candy. Which, yeah, just think of the exact plot of You've Got Mail, of like, oh, New York City candy store owner going against high-priced or low-priced corporate candy, big candy, is this little storefront run by a single white woman who just is so passionate about candy that it overthrows the usefulness for paying less money to buy a bunch of candy. And that's kind of the whole plot. And then it's just like, romantic comedy shit where they happen to pass each other on the streets before knowing who they were, and then every other boring thing about a romantic comedy. But it insults you for wanting it to be more. There's a point where Bill Hader, they're playing, so it's like a story within a story. So these two couples are talking, and one of the couples is telling their love story. Bill Hader is part of the other couple. He is a wife-hating guy. He subconsciously or just is afraid to say he hates his marriage kind of guy. But, Paul Rudd's like, and guess who it was? Talking about Amy Poehler. And he goes, who? And they're just like, are you fucking dumb, dude? Like, it's obviously Amy Poehler. Like, that's what the story's about. Like, and it's just them taking the time out of the movie to be like, yeah, it's dumb of us to have said that, and it's dumb of you to have replied. And it's funny. Top tier comedy. If you want to know what makes me laugh, watch Date Movie, Scary Movie 3, Psycho Goreman, and They Came Together. That's probably not a top 4 comedy for me, but those are some pretty fucking crazy comedies that are a good representation. So, after, I'm trying to keep this less than 15 minutes per movie, and I think I've been nailing it. It's not even 30 minutes in yet. Alright, so sometime last week, I don't know exactly what led me to do this, but I just decided to save a bunch of Jackie Chan movies. I know exactly why. I said this in the review. I said I don't know why I did this, but I know exactly why. Because I watched Mr. Vampire and Ricky O, and I really want to watch more fucking over-the-top Hong Kong, like, kung fu movies. But as I mentioned, Lex doesn't like to read subtitles. My partner doesn't like to read subtitles, so I had to find English-speaking movies that had the same kind of energy as a Hong Kong movie. And then I passed scrolling Rush Hour 2, and I'm like, we do both love Rush Hour 2. I'm like, I don't really care much about Chris Tucker, but Jackie Chan knows how to do a backflip. And so I just searched up Jackie Chan, I filtered by English, and I clicked on all of them. And the first one I watched was The Medallion, which may have been a mistake, but it was interesting. It's an all English film with Jackie Chan. It's a family comedy, essentially. I think it's PG-13, but it's treated the same way Jackie Chan treats comedies. I think he did like Next Door Neighbor, The Spy Next Door, or something like that. Like that kind of energy. And the big curveball that I didn't even notice until I saw some reviews after I watched it, but it is a Hong Kong production, and I actually did notice it. I noticed it with the introduction, the production logos, because they didn't look like one. I think one of them literally said like Hong Kong on it or China on it or something like that. They were very obviously international publishers, producers, whatever. I don't know what those logos are. Production companies. And, the people who pay for it and print it. It was made in Hong Kong, and Jackie Chan was in it. It's called The Medallion. I don't know if I said that already. That's not what it's released initially as, though. Let me pull it up, though, because it's not The Medallion. Not The Talisman either. What the fuck? I remember there being, like, in the behind the scenes, all their clappers had a different name. And it had nothing to do with a medallion. Anyway, Jackie Chan exists. He's playing essentially the same character he does in Rush Hour. He's a Chinese cop that is used to be a nondescriptor, like eye on the ground kind of guy. He's hunting down some dude, I think. He's, trying to eat food. He keeps giving it to a dog because it's a Yakuza game as well. And then shit escalates, but not for a little while, right? So first, Jackie Chan hears about, I think it's like a kidnapping or something. I'm pretty sure it's like the beginning of Rush Hour 2, actually. But so Jackie Chan's hunting down these guys, and there's a kid who is rumored to be like the reincarnation of a god or some sort of entity, an all-powerful kind of person of immortality. I think he has like the secret of immortality, and he's reincarnated into this little boy child person, or at least they're claimed to be. And he's very spiritual looking. He walks around like a monk, and he carries a medallion around, and he barely talks, shaved head and all. So Jackie Chan is like going to find him, and he does in fact find him. He's like in the bad guy's fort or whatever, doing backflips and kicking some dudes and doing funny little like gags that are just, fun. And then he fucking dies. Not the kid. Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan is fucking shot to death. Which was very shocking. Especially when it happened so quickly. I think it was within like the first 45 minutes. It was long enough to be to be unexpected, because why would Jackie Chan die so late in a movie? But it was early enough to be like, so where the fuck does this go? And he fully dies. Like, he's on the slab, dead. And I almost said unalived, but that's a very dumb term I try to not use. He's on the slab. Everyone's crying about his death. And then this kid comes along. This monk child boy that he saved. And he places the medallion like that he carries around like on his chest. And it revives him. Just like fully revives him. But it doesn't just revive the body, right? Because there's a dead body on the slab that's dead. It spawns an entirely new body in the room. It like kind of looks like when you die in Tron, but reverse, because he appeared. And then he got to look at his own dead body while discussing this to this child, like, oh yeah, you're alive now. And I thought he was a ghost. I thought this was gonna be like a ghost thing. No, it's just Jackie Chan gains immortality, and spoiler alert, kind of. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's pretty self-explanatory. You get immortality. He also gets like superpowers too, but that kind of isn't utilized until the very end because you need the build-up or whatever. But yeah, so it's just imagine imagine watching Rush Hour, and then Jackie Chan's just shot dead. Because basically what happened. It was basically Rush Hour. And, you know, he's basically the same character. Maybe just a little bit more grizzly, because I think his hair was longer. Even though on the poster it's way cleaner than it is in the opening scene, but... this... where was I going with this? Words. He got revived. And then he does like the fighting in this first area, like where he dies and then he gets revived and does some more fighting. It reminded me a lot of Fear, that Xbox game. I mean, it's more than Xbox, but the video game Fear. That's what the interior of those buildings looked like to me. But he's running through there, and then he just gets, like, they just unload on him. They put a lot of bullets into this man, but instead of blood, there's gold holes. And he just realizes that he's bulletproof. He became immortal. At first I thought he was just bulletproof, but then the scene I'm trying to lead up to gets a little shocking for me. It's not that intense, but it's just the fact that it happens in a movie with Jackie Chan in it is just so shocking to me. So he finds out that he can't be killed with bullets, and he just starts kicking these guys with guns, and it's you know, it's intense. It's a fun little action scene. He does his parkour and stuff like that. But then he's like getting curious. He finishes the fight. He meets up with his buddy and he's like, "Hey, I think I might be immortal." And he's like, "That's fucking stupid." He's like, "Check this out." And he stabs himself. He fucking stabs himself in the chest. And that is still not the most shocking part, because I mean, that's a big early 2000s thing. Is if you find out you're immortal, you try and stab yourself. It's just human nature. It happens in superhero movie too. You know, speaking of good movies, good comedies. Stephen Hawking's in it. It's a good movie. So he stabs himself, and then his friend is like, "That's crazy." And he's like, "Let me try." And that's when shit gets really intense for me. He just stabs him, and he's like, "Oh, wow. That's crazy." I think he even slowly presses the blade in. Like, it's a really hypothetically gruesome scene. And then there's a good 10 to 20 seconds of this friend, this goofy British dude. He has a name. Lee Evans. Just starts stabbing him. And like the opening scene in Zodiac kind of stabbing. Like, he's just going at it. Just stabbing and stabbing and stabbing. And Jackie Chan is kind of, he's not feeling it, but he's like, "Hey, you could stop now." I'm pretty sure someone like peeks in through the window and they faint, because it's a very shocking scene. You see someone be ruthlessly stabbed over and over and over again with a smile on the guy's face. Yeah, it was a fine movie. It's not great. It's not good even, but you know, if you want to see Jackie Chan get shot and then like Liu Kang, not bicycle kick. What's his back forward square? Or his back forward circle, sorry. I don't know what it's called. But it's like his it's a long distance attack. It's a flying kick. Yeah. If only I knew the name of the attack, it would have been cool. Because now I'm describing an attack from a video game so that I can describe what Jackie Chan does in this movie. He does a flying kick from a long distance, and he fly around. He's got super speed and catch bullets or whatever. It's alright. I thought it was a decent watch. It's not greatly rated. I gave it a 3 out of 5, a 3-star, 6 out of 10. It's above average for me. It's definitely not going to be above average for most people, though. Because it ultimately is a bad movie. But if you're able to get the kind of stuff out of it that I do, you're good to go. Next is The Devil Wears Prada. This is the next day, the 18th. I don't know why I'm telling you the days. But yeah, so we watched The Devil Wears Prada. I don't have the greatest opinion of the movie on a general sense. I don't, just like what I was saying with, comedies and stuff like that. It kind of falls into that, almost. This time around, I've definitely appreciated it a lot more. But only because of maybe just me as a person being able to accept certain things in a movie. Because a big thing about this, a thing about The Devil Wears Prada is it's a movie about a piece of shit. Sorry, I need to get this. Gross. The Devil Wears Prada is about a piece of shit who gets a shitty job, and in order to become good at that job, it's not shitty inherently, it's shitty because the people she works with makes it shitty, but to thrive in this shitty job, she must become shittier. And, for a while I didn't appreciate that. I still don't really like it. I don't think it's that enjoyable of a movie, but I was able to appreciate it on this watch because I was able to look past movies as needing to... not that I've always thought that movies needed to glorify something. I don't think I've ever inherently thought that. But I was able to look at it a little bit more objectively, I suppose, is a way to put it. Because I heard someone... I was listening to Sick on Cinema. I just started listening to it. And they do an episode on... I don't remember the director's name, but the guy that Harmony Korine's movies, basically. The guy who directed Kids. Harmony Korine wrote it. But they were talking about Kids, and they said something like... I'm paraphrasing to shit, and I don't know which one said it. I haven't learned their names yet. I'm that new to the show. But they were saying that no matter how shitty some of these people seem, they still find it not excusable, but they find it easier to accept because in the end, they're just dumb kids. And I don't necessarily agree with that fully, because I think if I were to watch Kids, which I just read the screenplay of the other day, kind of as to prime myself for it, I don't think I'd be able to walk away being I kind of feel for Tess. I think that's the dude's name. Because I probably won't. I'm not... I think that he is just... I'm not going to get into it because I didn't watch Kids. I don't have a fully formed opinion on it. I am reflecting on someone else's reflections. That loses 20% of its light quality just right there. Jesus Christ. I'm supposed to be talking about Devil Wears Prada. I still can't get that S in the right place either. The Devils Wear Prada. That'd probably be better. The Devil Wears Prada. I know because, it's supposed to be Meryl Streep is the devil. inherently, or that actually, is it a play on words because it's about becoming shittier, and to wear Prada shoes you inherently need to be shittier as a person because that's how fashion works. Look at that little groundbreaking thought process just right there. What was I getting at? I appreciate it, though, because of a very specific line that Stan Tucci says in the movie. Maybe I never heard it. Maybe I never resonated with it before. Maybe I just didn't care. Whatever it is, I only noticed it this most recent time of watching it, that Stan Tucci says... no, he doesn't say anything. The main character girl is complaining. She says, "My personal life is falling apart." And Stan Tucci replies, "That's what happens when you do well at work." Or when you're doing well at work. And again, this is kind of like the same way I'm looking at the thing that what's his name said about kids. It's like, I don't fully agree with it, because there is inherently a balance. But I think it might... I don't want to say it's an American thing. But there's something about the mentality of, like, just being willing to destroy yourself for your work. But see, so a big thing about the movie is that Anne Hathaway... I always mix her up with Anna Kendrick, don't ask me why. Straight, brown hair, white girl. Anne Hathaway, in the process of becoming good at her job, which is buying into the fashion industry and kind of, becoming the pretentious person that she loathed about the job. She had to make her job into a career, might be another way to put it. However it is, it's her personal life falling apart because she chose to pursue a career. Now, I'm trying to use the word skeptical. Clearly it's not working. So, I have a similar relationship with my partner that Anne Hathaway and her partner have. I am very much like the boyfriend. I outwardly despise, like, the idea of corporations. I only work because I kind of have to. My existence in society that I strive towards is the personal freedom to not have to work. Is that the right way to put that? I'm lazy. I'm a lazy person. I don't like to work. I like to create. I like to talk into my headphones instead of figuring out how to get overtime. That's me. I am the one that says I work for a paycheck so that I'm allowed to stay alive, because that's how I see working. Now, my partner lives to work, and I don't want to put that in a negative sense, because that's kind of where I'm getting to the point of here, is that Anne Hathaway is shitty in the movie because she's entirely doing it by herself. But what I want to get at is that her relationship didn't have to fail. It only failed because she and her boyfriend let it. Because the whole thing is he resents her for working so hard. But he resents her for working so hard because she never declared to him, or they never openly discussed the fact that she was going to, at some point, choose to pursue being better at her job. I think I lost it. Better at her job? Is that really what I was talking about? Basically, my partner and I have an understanding with each other. They love their job, and they probably won't ever not want to work. And we've discussed it, and I understand, right? And vice versa, it's just how we exist. So to generalize that your personal life will fall apart once you start getting good at your job is only kind of complete bullshit. And I think that me not allowing it to be any other way hindered me to not be able to watch the movie and see that there is more to it. I don't want to say that because I don't know exactly how I'd be able to get to that. I'm also losing my train of thought. I'm getting distracted. I got a rubber band in my hand, and it is killing my train of thought. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I shared any actual thoughts there, but Devil Wears Prada. I'm not a huge fan, but I was able to appreciate the seriousness of it, showing a person choosing work over life and never doing anything to fix it except blaming the work that you're willingly doing. I think I got there. I think I did it. Good work. That's The Devil Wears Prada, whatever I just said. The least cohesive, but probably the most opinionated of my quote-unquote reviews, discussions, whatever. March 19th. This one's going to be a little weird. I watched Alien, not for the first time. It's not weird because I watched Alien for the first time. I love Alien. This is probably the first time in about 10 years I've watched it on DVD. I'm pretty sure I've streamed it every time I've watched it since I last watched the entire quadrilogy at my friend's house during summer break. But Alien, I love it. There's not much that I can contribute to because my opinion will probably just sound like I'm trying to copy and paste someone else's review. Even though I don't remember any of the reviews I've read, except for one detail that I need to bring up. But I'm going to hopefully talk more about the movie in general before I get to this specific part. I'm a big fan of Alien. Not so much the sequels. I'm going through them again right now to kind of confirm that opinion. But I can at least confidently say that I don't like Aliens, and I think Alien is perfect. If I ever get to Aliens, I'll discuss that exact reasoning as best I can. But until then, I like Alien. And I put it on the other day. Good talk. Good talking. We're out here. I guess there's really not much to talk about. Alien is Alien. It's objectively one of the best movies ever made. you know. It's a true sense of horror. Okay, how about this? How about this? Let's start with the thing I always focused on, and the thing I always found to be the most interesting about Alien. Alien has a very specific plot where it turns out that science, robots, and the concept of logical thinking, non-emotional logical thought, will always choose knowledge over life. So, if you haven't seen Alien, I don't care too much about spoilers, so I apologize if I do spoil it. It's fucking 50 years old at this point. Maybe figure it out. But basically the main scientist, who turns out to be a robot, filled with milk. Disgusting. I hate the android milk. It disgusts me. It's probably one of the most vile, imaginings to come out of a person, is to say, yeah, this robot, it runs on milk and weird bulbous clear tubes. But so the head scientist, #robot, is on the ship, and this alien broke loose, and all this robot is obsessed with is, we need to preserve it, to study it. We want to know about this alien life form. This alien life form is the secret to whatever. It's a scientific marvel, and it would be against nature to destroy such a interesting creature without understanding it first. So the whole movie happens because this robot decides that learning about the alien is more important than the lives of the people who are infected, being hunted by and killed by the alien. That's always what I focused on with this. It's the fact that not just science, but just the speculation of computers being able to make choices. And that's kind of where the pro AI stuff is happening now. Is I think I said with Pixel Perfect that it's kind of like a pro AI film before pro AI films existed. I've been kind of thinking about that statement, and I think it's because, and I think I said this then too, it's not because we weren't focused on the idea of computers gaining sentience. It's the questions we had about it that are different. So is it even that different? It's just a time thing. It's a pseudo pro AI concept where, talking about aliens still, right? Yeah. Which I guess in this case would be anti-AI, but the fact that it wasn't speculated that computers would take over or minimalize human intervention or usefulness. It wasn't about outmoding humanity. It was more about... Am I backwards on this? I'm jumping between movies now, and I'm kind of fucking myself up. The androids in Alien and mother in Alien are willing to see humanity as expendable for the retrieval of knowledge. Yes, I've said that 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. But what am I getting at with that? I feel like you might know what I'm trying to get at, but I'm just really bad at fucking talking. And it's like a gray line that I can't describe, where both are okay with technology. I think I just need to get off of that. My big thing with Alien, and this is me trying to transition into the thing I learned about Alien that I never realized until this last watching, but I always looked at Alien as a look at computers' objective thought, and that logic in its purity will always choose knowledge over life. I think that's a good way to put it, actually. Yeah. That's how I've always seen Alien. And Aliens does the same thing. You know, it doesn't do it with an android, but it does do it with science saying that, you know, I'd rather learn about this alien than keep you alive. But what I learned, and that everyone seems to talk about, and no one seems to talk about the thing I'm focused on, right? I find that really fascinating. I mean, maybe I'm just 20 years stuck in the past of what to think about, like, of why Pixel Perfect is so profoundly intense of like a question about, you know, treating robots as humans in any sense. But everyone else that I've read reviews of, which are just people I follow, I don't normally go deep into the reviews unless I'm, you know, farming for people to talk to because I don't have someone to talk to about something. But, and I'm sorry for I'm building it up like it's some amazingly new thing, but it's not. It's just me being ignorant and blind to it because I have an innocence to that perspective, in a sense, I guess. I hate saying it like that. I'm fucking 29 years old. But the alien is a giant dick monster. And Alien is a thought exercise in men's fear of pregnancy. And like, I mean, didn't it sound weird that I was I was really reaching for the robot stuff, but somehow, even though that's blatantly obvious in the movie, I find that the weird sexual erotic energy is the thing that's a reach. But that's the actual thing, because like I was looking through the behind the scenes stuff, and the DVD I have has photo galleries of H.R. Geiger's concept art, and that's when I noticed it. I didn't notice it until I looked at his concept art. I said the words oddly erotic because they were the concept shapes of the alien, but they had like really thick thighs and shapely legs and curved backs, and it translated into the movie more scary, for me at least, than it did giant dick monster. But it all makes sense. I mean, I even started my Alien review saying, maybe it's not started it, but it's slimy, it's greasy, it's gross, it's sweaty. I think I have slimy and sweaty and smoky. Those are the 3 adjectives I chose before even making the sexual connection. Those are the words I chose. And then after you make the sexual connection, you go, yeah, those 3 adjectives kind of perfectly correlate with eroticism and giant dick monsters and, you know, being penetrated by this massive, anyway, more weird descriptors to ruin someone's day. That's Alien. And I mean, now I'm gonna have to watch it again because I've watched it a bunch of times over the last 15 years, and somehow I never made that connection, especially since I'm a huge Dune fan now, and I've already seen a bunch of H.R. Geiger's work through Jodorowsky. And didn't he work with David Lynch too? But that no, the connection was H.R. Geiger, the Alien, and Jodorowsky. That was the Dune connection. But that's a thing too. I'm gonna turn my car off and hopefully it doesn't disconnect anything. Hello. Oh, you're recording from my phone speaker? That's so annoying. Well, I'm an hour in. Can't change it now. That's cool. I'm sorry if you heard it brushing up against my jacket or anything. That's really annoying. So, why do I have this earbud in then? Yeah, Alien's a giant dick monster. It's really sweaty, it's smoky, it's slimy. I learned through the behind the scenes that the guy who wore the alien suit is 6'10", naturally, like before. I don't know if they put him on platforms or anything, but that is a tall dude. Sigourney Weaver wearing tighty whities is a classic. And yeah, Alien is good. I think I have more to say negatively once I get to Aliens, because that's when I get to talk about the specific reasons why I don't like Aliens. Shit, should I do one more? The next one is a double feature I did. Maybe I could fit it in. Let's see what I got, right? So, the next day, my partner, this is March 20th, so that's last Friday. My partner went out, and they were staying at their friend's house. So, I had a day or two to watch whatever I wanted. And I think that's probably where this podcast gets the most interesting, is when I'm not trying to tread water and not play something that's going to piss off my partner while also being satisfying for me. So I watched Ralph Bakshi's Heavy Traffic, and it was fucking weird. I don't even know if I have anything to truly say about it now that I'm thinking about it, because it was just so incoherent and beautifully, should I say beautifully? It was well animated. I think Ralph Bakshi's art you can tell it's hand drawn and it's charming, but it's not like a massive spread of a comic book page. So it's almost it's cartoonish. It's a cartoon. It's an X-rated cartoon. Ralph Bakshi's second film, from what I've been told. And yeah, it's about a cartoonist, which seems to be a constant in Ralph Bakshi's work, is kind of like how Stephen King always writes about writers, kind of thing. Ralph Bakshi's Heavy Traffic is about a cartoonist who is apparently a virgin at I don't know what age he is, but he's a grown man. And he's openly a virgin, so people know about it, and he gets made fun of for it a lot. And they keep trying to force him to have sex, and I think he's asexual. I think that's something that was happening. But that's the main character. It's just this plain dude who doesn't want to have sex. He just wants to make cartoons. And I mean, obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, because the more I talk about and learn about Ralph Bakshi, the more I question how true it is that he actually does want to jerk off to his own art, and that he's actually just doing it ironically. But yeah, it's like this asexual virgin dude. He's a cartoonist. All he wants to do is make art. And Ralph Bakshi, he makes caricatures of, kind of like how South Park makes fun of everybody. He kind of does that too. So like his father is a piece of shit drunk Italian man who cheats on his wife, and then his mother is an alcoholic ditzy Jewish woman who hates her marriage and cheats on her husband, but in a classier way, I guess, even though she's flashing people in public. Black people are, inked in with the actual color black, like they are exaggerated as all hell. In Fritz the Cat, they were literally crows, if that tells you something. It's he has a humor to him that you definitely have to be okay with. And again, maybe it's ironic, because I was told that Fritz the Cat's movie was specifically to attack Robert Crumb and his ideologies. But yeah, Heavy Traffic is cartoonist. It's about pinball, I think, because that's one major thing, like unique thing that I actually liked about the movie that I can kind of understand is I forgot that the term is called rotoscoping, but rotoscoping, so like the cartoons are drawn onto an image of a real life like place, and it's cool. Like it's a unique style, because it's not my typical experience with rotoscoping is taking live action footage and fully animating that scene with a pencil. So every frame is different in that way. But this is like almost in the Chowder sense, where it's just a flat single image that's just pasted in the background, and then these cartoons are just on it. But then it's also cutting to actual real life footage of the same character in the animation, the virgin dude playing pinball. And I mean, the description of the movie says it's kind of just like a guy reflecting his life into a movie, where a mutant anti-hero challenges and kills God. Oh, yeah. So let's try and talk about this quick, because I really don't have too much to say about Heavy Traffic itself as much as I do Ralph Bakshi, and I don't really want to talk about Ralph Bakshi right now. He likes boobs. He has a song about boobs, and by he, I mean a rapper made a song called Ralph Bakshi that's about boobs. And he does racism in movies to an extreme that causes, other than the penises actually being shown and there being cartoon sex on screen, it's just very extreme and intentionally using the X rating to do whatever the fuck it wants. Death is immaculately animated in Ralph Bakshi stuff. I say it generally because as Ralph Bakshi as a whole, because his death scene in Fritz the Cat is fucking immaculate, and the death scene in Heavy Traffic is completely different, but just so cool. I use the words, let's see. Death is depicted as a reality-destroying, time-distorting sequence. Because that gun is fired, and then it's just like 3 straight minutes of this man's mind unraveling visibly before us, and while simultaneously his skull exploding, and all these colors and like random images and real life shots of pinball. It's so intense, and it's such a amazing depiction of the transition from life to death that I cannot get over it. Truly amazing work. But so the cartoon that this cartoonist in the cartoon is making, that he pitches and I think doesn't eventually sell, is kind of a post-apocalypse Jesus, starting kind of like a post-apocalypse gang, but it's still just the story of Jesus. It's just kind of like shifted into the future post-apocalypse, and that's not even explicitly said, that's just kind of implied. But this apocalypse Jesus challenges God, like literally challenges God himself, which is depicted as kind of a fee-fi-fo-fum kind of giant with a little Eden leaf on his crotch, and he kills him, or at least he challenges him, and he knocks God over. And that's really where I want to hone in on, because now that I'm basically done talking about Heavy Traffic, I can talk about the double feature and how I got to that double feature. And it has to do with this cartoon that this cartoonist made within his cartoon. The movie I double featured it with was Begotten from 1989. Begotten is a film that I accidentally found through this movie called Shadow of the Vampire, which I still haven't watched. But it says in the description of Begotten, made by the man who made Shadow of the Vampire. So, like, I figured, like, this guy must be pretty significant. And Begotten just sounds pretty fucking sick. It looks cool. It's like 8mm footage, maybe? I don't really know what it's shot on. I don't know anything about it. But it's a story about God killing himself, Mother Earth being birthed from the grave of the suicided God, conceiving Jesus, or the Son of Earth, and then humanity destroying that Son of Earth, as per, Jesus, via crucifixion, etc. I don't really know what... It should have been a short film. It technically is. It's 72 minutes long. It's not... Same thing with Heavy Traffic, actually. That's only like 75 minutes long. Like, these are short movies. Heavy Traffic is a lot more worth the watch. Begotten... it's kind of a challenge, really. Because the first opening sequence is just so immaculate. It's a scene... Excuse me. It's a scene of God killing himself. And it doesn't... It goes into excruciating detail, but in a really fuzzy way. Because it's using such shitty film or shot on video. Like, maybe it's a video, like a VHS rip or something. Like, I don't know what makes this look like this, but it's intentional. It's black and white. The blacks are extremely black, and the whites are blindingly white. There's a lot of times where you're looking at the screen just trying to decipher what the hell you're looking at, because it's not like it's zoomed in too much or something. It's just things are so ill-defined with this footage that until you can fully... Like, I'm pretty sure I was staring at a vagina for a good 2 minutes straight on YouTube. But it was so grainy and blown out of is it high contrast, high brightness or something? Like I don't know how to describe it. Low saturation, high contrast, maybe. But yeah, I swear I was looking at a vagina at some point. And I definitely saw a penis at some point too. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I put Begotten on the Thunder Gun list. It's on the Thunder Gun list. It's there. I saw a penis. At least once. But it's so ill-defined that it could go on YouTube without any question. It's like... It's interesting. But, so... God kills himself. It's like I think someone I follow clocked it at like 7 minutes. I didn't count it. I would have said like 10, 15. But it was a decent chunk of time of just this person sitting in a chair in a room, cutting pieces of himself off of himself. And it was really disturbing to watch. It was mostly just him digging at his guts. It probably wasn't that horrifying if you took away all the filter and film grain and stuff like that. It was probably just a guy poking at a pillow taped to his stomach with some like red food coloring or something like that. But it's so grimy looking. It looks so evil and distressing to watch. But this guy kills himself, and then he begins disintegrating it into soil, which I thought was interesting, because then Mother Earth is birthed out of the dead body of God. Or at least that's how I picked up on it. So she like rises from the soil that is God's dead body, or partially decomposed body, because his body is still there. And then she like spins around for a minute or so, and like it appears, and it's pretty cool. And then, oh yeah, I did see a penis. There was no question about it, because plot critically, Mother Earth, is her name Mother Earth? Yeah, Mother Earth approaches the dead body of God and starts blowing him. Like literally just a full-on like oral scene just happens. And you know, it's God, so you know there's no definitive answer, but she gets this dead body to come, and she artificially inseminates herself with the necrophilic sperm of God. And so that happens, and that's probably the last like cohesive thing to me, because then it kind of just turns into like 55, 60 minutes of I mean, he's credited as the Son of Earth, but that's basically Jesus. He's just, it's just a guy being slowly dragged, occasionally being like hit with something, or it'll show like a different angle of him begging in agony or shaking or something. But it's just this person being dragged through the dirt and eventually being crucified. Presumably because Jesus, you know, it is very much another Jesus story. Have you figured out the double feature thing that I never explained yet either? Maybe I should get to that. That's kind of the most interesting part about it. Because the film, it should have been 30 minutes like shorter. it had no reason to drag you out that long. Now, I do see some people who have said that because, I mean, I didn't I had full attention on it, but I wasn't watching it every second. Like I looked away, but people claim you have to put it on like a massive screen with massive or super high volume and fully immerse yourself into it, and then the 72 minutes are worth it. But from my perspective, it was just indistinct, like death metal growling happening softly in the background while this dude was being dragged across the dirt in a really hard to look at bright white footage. Sorry, I'm shaking my leg. It probably sounds horrible on on my phone's microphone. But what was I talking about? It's not worth it. It's Begotten. It's on YouTube. It's so not worth it that YouTube doesn't even put ads on it, which is a surprise because they love claiming ads on even the. I think Penda's Fen got an ad break at some point too, and that has a teenager's penis in it. Whew. So the double feature that I didn't explain. How do I get from Heavy Traffic to Begotten? Well, it's the death of God. Of course. That's another thing I guess I didn't mention that I kind of intuited from Begotten is that with God dead, the land is just dead as well. And I think Mother Earth kills herself at some point, or she dies too, which kind of follows that symbology too. But yeah, the death of God. Heavy Traffic has that cartoon within a cartoon within a cartoon of Jesus killing God. And I was racking my brain. Excuse me. I was racking my brain what the fuck can I double feature this weird ass movie with? And I scrolled to Begotten and I see the words, the violent death of God. And I think that's it. That's all I need. I've drawn more obscure lines than that. It's not weird to have gotten there. So that's really it. That was, and then on top of that being the fact that they were both early films of fairly famous directors. Definitely not the Begotten guy as much, since he only has 6 films and one of them is referenced in his other movie, 7. But yeah, I guess that's where I'll stop. I covered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 movies. It's 2 more than I got last time. I wish I could have gotten to Welcome to Whoop Whoop though. Maybe I want to do one specifically on Australian movies. But I want to A, watch more Australian movies, and B, understand Australia a little bit more before I talk about it as a point of interest, a topic of discussion. If you notice, these episodes have gotten longer. That's this is probably the longest it'll get. Maybe 2 hours max, until something changes in the way I do it, because that's the maximum amount of time I have between getting out of work and driving home before my partner sees me. So that's my recording time. I don't really have anything set up. I hear, podcasts always go hey, email me. I'll consider it. Other than that, this is a podcast about me. I talk about me for an indescript amount of time. That's not the right way to use that. Hi. Bye, actually. Good night.